our mind. While we cannot fully understand the workings of the human mind, we know it is influenced by everything we see, hear, smell, taste, and feel. Many actions we do every day become habits and are done automatically. For the most part, this is good, otherwise, we would have to learn reading, walking, eating, and many other things again and again. Along with habits of action, we also develop habits of thought. Our thought patterns help form our attitudes toward life. These attitudes have the potential to make us well or sick, happy or miserable. It all depends on how we choose to think. Here are some questions to consider. Is my cup half full or half empty? Is a failure someone who does not succeed or someone who never tries? Do I feel I can do something today to help myself? Am I able to forgive and forget injuries against me? Do I need other people? If something is worth doing, is it worth doing even if not done perfectly? Am I able to see the good in myself? Is happiness a matter of chance? Do I think turning to a higher power can help me? Are my emotional problems too unique to be helped? Am I too old to change? Who is responsible for my feelings? What thought patterns do you follow? Do your answers to these questions leave the door open for growth? Do they allow you to develop to your fullest potential? If so, this indicates a positive outlook. With a positive outlook, we know we can have feelings of self-worth. We can be happy in spite of problems. We can have energy to do our daily tasks. We can feel useful, we feel we belong. We are able to adjust to life even if life does not measure up to our expectations. Peace of mind can be ours even when we are faced with difficulties. We can have a purpose to our lives, we can radiate warmth and love. We can be optimistic and accept ourselves and others. If, on the other hand, our answers indicate a rejection of self, criticism of others, feelings of hopelessness, or a defeatist attitude, then they reflect negative thinking on our part. We may have symptoms such as anxiety, panic, abnormal fears, guilt, depression, self-pity, remorse, worry, insomnia, tension, loneliness, withdrawal, boredom, fatigue, or despair. We may experience compulsive behaviors, obsessive thoughts, suicidal or homicidal tendencies, psychosomatic and physical illnesses. If we are experiencing any of these symptoms, we must change our thought patterns or we likely will stay sick. In the ordinary course of a day, a great many thoughts pass through our minds. Naturally, some of them may be negative. It is not the occasional negative thought which causes us trouble. It is when we dwell on it, deny it, or feel guilty about it that it grows into a problem. When we first developed our negative attitudes, we did so to protect ourselves from the pain of being rejected by others or ourselves. We chose our behaviors and attitudes to escape from reality and from the responsibility we have for ourselves and our actions. These attitudes seemed to help us for a time, but, as we built negative thought after negative thought, we became engulfed in such painful symptoms that we did not know where to turn. Some of us sought help but could not accept the help which was offered. We may have wanted independence and hated ourselves for the dependence we felt. We may have felt too dependent on others and isolated ourselves. What we needed was interdependence with people in healthy sharing relationships. We compared ourselves with everyone, therefore, we felt inferior or superior instead of recognizing the common humanity we all share. Our symptoms allowed us to avoid the reality of today, the reality we could not seem to face. Little did we realize that reality is heaven compared to the hell we live in with our symptoms. Awareness. We finally come to realize our true state of emotional health and to say, I have to get well. I can't stand living like this any longer. If I don't get well, I'm going to lose everything, my family, my friends, my job, my peace of mind. I'm hurting myself and everyone with whom I come in contact. Intellectually, we may understand this dilemma, but, in our illness, We build up such a pattern of negative thoughts and attitudes toward life that change cannot come overnight. Responding inadequately to emotional situations has been a habit too long. Our intellect says, I want to get well and stay well. Our emotions say, I don't want to let go of my old attitudes and behaviors. These are all I know, and I am afraid of change, afraid of the unknown. Before we can be well, we must realize we are not meant to be perfect, for only God is perfect. We are meant to be perfectly human, and that means to be ourselves. Admittedly, we see many faults in ourselves, but we also discover many good qualities we never knew we had. Being ourselves may mean we have to change. We are always growing and discovering a little more about ourselves. There is joy and satisfaction in this discovery. Having emotional problems should cause no more guilt than having cancer or heart disease. The guilt comes when we know we are sick, but we reject the help available. The question then is, do I want to get well more than I want to stay sick? We must all answer this question for ourselves. What can we do about our illness, about the enormity of it? Until we accept the fact of our illness, we cannot take the necessary steps to get well. Moving in the right direction. The 12-step program of Emotions Anonymous is the answer to our problems. The first step of the 12 steps is to admit we are powerless over our emotions and that we are no longer able to manage our lives. We admit this on both an intellectual level and an emotional or gut level. This first step may not be easy. By admitting we are powerless over our emotions and that our lives are unmanageable, we admit we are not self-sufficient. Are we too self-centered or self-important to make such an admission? If we want to be well, we must admit some power in the universe is greater than we are. We must become willing to turn our wills and lives over to the care of a higher power. This surrender is necessary if we want to get well. Fight as we might, this is one place where surrender brings true victory. The Emotions Anonymous program is a daily living program. We do not merely join it. We try to live it, all 12 steps of it. We find it works. It can work for anyone who is honest with himself or herself. EA is a program of honesty. By being honest with ourselves, we can learn to live peacefully with unsolved problems. This is serenity. As we apply this program, we find we become free at last to be ourselves. If we want to be well, we will learn the 12 steps and use them. EA is our chance to learn how to live. If we stay sick, we have no one to blame but ourselves. By being patient with ourselves, we can become happier than we ever dreamed was possible. The more we are able to share our strengths, hopes, and imperfections, the more we can grow. It is in the third step that we make a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of our higher power. Making the decision is the difficult part here, but it can be done if we work the program. No one can do it for us. We have to let go of our old ways of self-dependency. We find hope as we attend EA meetings and meet other people who have found help by working this 12-step program. A chance to be well is something some of us did not know was possible. As we attend our weekly meetings, we no longer feel alone. At last we feel we belong somewhere. We are among people who understand. The love and acceptance we experience in the group help us to accept ourselves. When others accept us as we are, we can more readily accept ourselves. We are then free to change. Acceptance does not necessarily mean we will like who we are. Nor does acceptance mean we will stay as we are. Acceptance means admitting who we are at this moment and realizing we are powerless to change ourselves by willpower alone. Acceptance means being realistic about ourselves and saying what we really feel, instead of what we think we should feel or what society says we should feel. When others accept our feelings without trying to analyze them or judge them, we find the courage to be more honest about ourselves. In this atmosphere we do indeed grow. As we grow, we experience the pain of healing, since there is pain connected with recovery from every illness, whether physical or emotional. This healing pain is a sign of our opening up to life and self. It is a feeling of newness, of discovery. We find the rewards of an enriched life to be greater than the pain. If we heal, we will grow. If we do not, we will surely die, at least inside. As we grow, we become the unique people we are capable of being. With the help of the 12 steps, we find a new way of life. With the acceptance and encouragement of the friends we make in the program, we learn to love and accept ourselves and others. With the help of a higher power, we find the serenity to accept what we cannot change, the courage to change what we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. With the help of the 12 steps, our new friends, and our higher power, we find ourselves and the reason for our existence. The choice is ours. Emotional illness and recovery. Below is shown the progression of symptoms that many people may experience when in the downward cycle of emotional illness or in the upward cycle of emotional recovery.